Let's take a look at our current political structure. Right now, you vote for your party, hope they have your best interests at play. And maybe they're liberals, maybe they're conservative, doesn't matter. Whoever gets in, they're going to go for whatever is on their agenda, whatever their goals are, whether it aligns with you or not. Whoever's in power, they make the choices. And if they have a majority, then their choices go through very easily. It's kind of a flawed system. Sometimes it can be for the benefit of a country, sometimes not. If things are sitting too far in one direction, it creates an imbalance. I would restructure our system. 101 seats in our government, 50 specifically for economy, and 50 specifically for social issues. The balance would be obviously because most things, when you're trying to boost your economy, you're pulling funding from social issues. And if you want social things done, you've got to pull the money from somewhere, whether it's coming from the taxes or coming from our economy. It creates a balance off both sides. Because, hey, we want to go build something that costs billions of dollars. Well, where's the money going to come from? Is it going to come from our healthcare, or is it going to come from something else? Um, Obviously, the social side is going to be focused on all of our socially funded projects, like our education, our healthcare, all that things. That is very centric to all of the things that they need to improve on, build on, and those members of government, that is their goal, is how can we make that better. The other half is focused on business. Their goal is specifically, how do we make our country more money, how do we make our businesses more money, and put more money in everyone's pockets. Social issues usually cost money. The more you spend on social issues, the less money you can put in someone's pocket. It creates a balance of scales between the left side and the right side of social and economic. Our current system doesn't really focus that. It's basically, here's your representatives, and whatever their goals and agendas are, that's what goes through. I would actually remove the way our party systems work. So in each region, you're voting for your economic leader and you're voting for your social leader. Who's got the best interest in your region for how do we make our economy stronger, how do we make more money, and then who's going to have the best interest for our social issues? Who's going to be like, hey, we want these changes, let's get these put through. Because our current system has its flaws, and a reform and change to our government could make a huge difference. Fundamental change is needed. If we want to have our country improve and grow, we've got to make some changes. If we continue on our current path, we're going to continue seeing all of these issues. We're going to have people struggling with their grocery bills, unable to afford homes, deciding, do I put food on my table or gas in my car so that I can get to work? If we don't start dealing with these changes and making major changes to how we run our country and how we do things in our country, we're going to have an economic collapse. We don't want to end up like freaking look at the Congo. Congo, they had some serious corruption issues. Now that place has gone to hell. I mean, I don't know if people have seen it, but hey, maybe I'll bring that up and show you. So I'm going to show a clip of what happens when a society falls apart. This is the Dominican Republic of Congo, and just the train horn. I'm going to mute it because I have watched this video before. But when your society falls apart, this is the place that it leads. This is what corruption and not doing things in the best interest of your people leads to. And I don't want to see Canada end up like this. Definitely not. I mean, I've seen homeless encampments that they start to resemble some of these things, but this is when society reaches a point of absolute decay and just systemic failure. There is filth and garbage everywhere. I mean, the garbage you see here, this is nothing. When you get further into this video, the mountains of garbage on the side is absolutely mind-boggling. And if we don't fix our society, this is exactly the future that we can expect. We can expect to have poverty and decay at this degree. Like, this is absolutely insane. I could not imagine this happening to Canada. The amount of filth and garbage, the amount of people living in poverty and that are homeless. The society here is the outcome of when you have too much invested in the wrong places and you have political corruption and people lining their own pockets. Because eventually the people run out of money. You can only do so much taxation and taking everything away from everyone before they run out. And that outcome is apparent here. Like, you can see what has happened in their society. Obviously, things are hopefully going to improve, but you never know. But I definitely don't want to see Canada reach this point. I'm going to put the audio on so at least you can hear what's going on in the background. That's not too loud. I don't really have sound balancing tools. But just take a look at this and think to yourself, is this the future I want for Canada? Or do we want to make changes and actually have a strong economy and not squander what we have? So I'm going to put my headphones on so I can hear it. Because look at the filth. Like I don't want to live that way. I don't know about you, but this is an absolutely terrible state to reach. And hey, I mean, at least they still have vehicles. They've got businesses, but the amount of people that don't get to live in that way is insane. The only reason they even probably have this train, from what I understand, is an outside country actually funded to put this train here so that they can have some economic stability. If it wasn't for an outside country helping them, they would not have this advantage. It would just be even more decay. And the way that a lot of people live, they don't have running water. They don't get to have a shower. They can't wash their hands. They don't have a clean kitchen they can go and prepare their food in. Hell, they don't even have, a lot of them won't have electricity. Like, think about that. If you want our society to end up like this? I sure don't. No running water, no electricity, no bathrooms. I look at this and I'm like, this is like the setting out of a post-apocalyptic movie. It's like the things you see in those post-apocalyptic games where society is ended. There's nothing but things that are falling apart, things that are incomplete, just pure decay. shacks and shelters that people build because that's what they got. That's how they survive. Living in shanty towns. Fields of garbage. That is something that we have a serious advantage of. Leave that because of the train horn for a sec. Think about how bad our society would have to get to reach this point. And if we don't make changes, this could be us. And there's a really cool experiment that was done that worked out. It's called the broken window effect. I think it was done in New York, if I recall. But they make a point that if you have one broken window, then everything else starts to fall apart. People then look at it as decay and they just add to the filth, they make it worse, and nobody has any respect for it. You fix that broken window and you fix the other issues, and people start to respect it again and keep things cleaner and put together. We need to fix our broken windows. We need to fix the state of decay within our society, because even if it's a physical thing that needs to be fixed or a metaphorical thing that needs to be fixed, we need to make sure that everything is running fluently so that we can have a better society. Because I sure don't want this future. I don't want to have our society living like this. And we need to make genuine change to make sure that we don't end up living in a world like this. Because this is not living, this is just surviving. And I'm sure a lot of people are not aware of how other people live in the rest of the world, that this is normal everyday life for these people. This is their society. This is their city. Everything is like this. I mean, you can see that there's some functional stuff on the right-hand side where that's where there's vehicles and businesses, but then you look at the left-hand side and it's all falling apart. And hey, I don't know what we have to fully change to prevent this, but I do know that in our current economic decline, I don't want to let it reach this point. That we need to strengthen our economy. We need to put money into the people's pockets to afford to live a decent life, because hey, we are privileged as hell. Because the fact that I can just go into my kitchen and get clean drinking water, I can go have my morning shower. I don't have to worry about, hey, can I turn the lights on at night? No, we got a very privileged lifestyle. If I want a burger, I can just go down the street and get a burger. These people do not get those privileges like we do. But if we let our society fall apart, this is the future that we could end up building ourselves if we don't make change. Because, hell, this looks like something straight out of fiction, but unfortunately, this is the reality of what happens when a society falls apart from corruption, falls apart from not having the right things done to keep their society successful. They did have some outside factors that hurt them. I'm aware that their coin became worth nothing, so they could not economically buy anything. But they became too sufficient on outside manufacturing, outside development. The more you rely on other people, the more they can manipulate your country. And if they decide to pull the plug, you have nothing. When their dollar became worth nothing, they no longer could buy things. They couldn't import things. They didn't have the manufacturing to make their own stuff. We need to make Canada's economic side strong enough that we are completely self-sufficient, that we do not need to ever rely on an outside country, that anything we do with outside countries is just the cherry on top. It's just extra money in our pockets, extra wealth and extra things we can do, because our society should be self-sufficient and not need to rely on anyone else. But we need to build the infrastructure. We need the manufacturing. We need all the food supplies to be able to supply ourselves at an affordable price so that we don't have to worry about what the rest of the world does. So if another country puts tariffs on us, who cares? We just stop buying from them, buy from someone else, because it's not even going to hurt us. We need to avoid this being our future. And I know for my kids' sake, I don't want my kids or any of my family or anyone else's family to have this as their future. I've seen homeless camps that look pretty damn close to some of these shanty towns in here, but this is still a whole other level. So I'm going to leave it here for today. But if you want to watch this whole video, Dominican Republic of Congo, I think you can just Google it on, or look it up on YouTube. The train ride through it. But this is what happens when a society can no longer support itself, when you have economic failure. And I don't want to turn our country into this. So thank you for watching my video today, and see you in the next one.